Ah, okay. I'm so excited to do this again with you ladies.
I am
All
too.
right. I'm so excited. We are live. Um, Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Jackson, and I am the founder of Timeless Dream Events, where we put on any sort of event, wedding, birthday, celebration of life for those that are terminally or chronically ill and their loved ones. And I am also an author. I can't believe I can say that finally. I'm an author of Lost, Travel, Found. And today, here with my beautiful sister from another mister, Meriam Baldwin, and my new friend slash writing coach and editor, Dr. Sarah Jeffries. Yay, ladies. I'll let you introduce yourselves. Miriam, won't you go ahead?
Thank you. Thank you. I am so excited. My name is Meriam Baldwin, and I'm a devoted wife, motivational speaker, author of Caregiver 2.0 From Burnout to Powerhouse. And this book launched last Thursday, and I'm really proud of it. And I'm really excited to be here with Ashley, my sister Ashley, and our wonderful writing coach, Dr. Sarah Jeffries.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Ashley, for having me on. I'm Dr. Sarah Jeffries. I'm a writer, editor, author, writing coach, and speaker. I'm in Ithaca, New York, and I'm the CEO of my own writing consultant business called Write Now. And I specialize in helping people find the writer within and really coaching you to your next best sentence through work and fun and revision and homework and exercises and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, because I really believe the more we practice writing, the closer we get to our heart and our spirit, and also the closer we get to the core of who we are, because the process of creativity is so powerful and so healing. So I'm super honored to be here with Ashley and Miriam and their new books, and the work that we've done in the past year has been phenomenal. Thank you, Ashley.
Oh, thank you again. I kind of want to jump in to something you said because after our first meeting and when I realized I just had to have you in my life as my writing coach, the next meeting we had and you gave me like all this homework and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Why is this lady giving me all this homework? And we were just having this natural conversation. And throughout that conversation, you would pause and say, write that down, or you would take notes. And it was, we had like 10 to a dozen pauses throughout our conversation. And then at the end of it, you told me, oh, that's your homework for next time. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, why? I kept saying why, and I would text Miriam, why is this lady giving me all this homework? Did she give you all this homework? And Miriam said, oh yes, you've seen nothing yet. You have seen nothing yet.
This is just the beginning.
Right. And Miriam pushed me to keep writing, and she told me to start with 3 to 5 minutes, as you did as well, Sarah. And, I'm sure Miriam can, agree with me here that we didn't realize that 3 to 5 minutes would grow into 30 minutes, into an hour, into 2 hours, into a book a year later. So tell us, Sarah, like what does that homework do? Why, as we are talking about ourselves, our pain points, our just anything, what makes you then want to tell those people, hey, let's stop and write that down?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really think any phenomenal book begins with a powerful question, a big enough question that we need to explore and unpack all the parts of it. So like Ashley, for example, your question might have been, how do I turn pain into purpose? Your question could have been, how do I help other people not burn out? How do I help other caregivers own their well-being? How do I help other people realize they're caregivers? That one always killed me. Right? And so when we're talking, I believe that the writer within our heart and the writer within our mouth will speak our truth before the one with the pen, right? So we would have these natural conversations and both of you would say brilliant sentences. We go really fast in the day. We have meetings, we have coffee, we have meals to prep, we have gas to put in the car, all those things. And writing for me slows us down so that we can hear the wisdom within. So I would say pause, because I would want you to hear your own brilliance. And the homework would help you unpack that brilliance, because I knew whatever brilliance you were offering, your reader would want to know more about. That's why we did it. But yes, the homework is supposed to also be fun. It is challenging. It does require you to go deep. Don't play on the surface. I'll be real honest about that. And if you guys want to speak on that, you can. I will ask you tough, challenging questions. But that's because I believe that you can get to them, and that you can get at them, and that you can get in them. I feel like your books are really evidence of that. I would be so excited to hear chapters. I'm like so excited to hear chapters, final chapters from the books, if you guys want to share those.
Yeah. Before we do that, I did want to mention that, Meriam had launched her book on June 10th. And we are still rocking and partying, from that. My book is going to launch on Friday, June the 18th. And I definitely want to challenge anyone listening out there, whether it's you're a caregiver or not, definitely participate in the hashtag Pain to Purpose, a challenge that I've got going on. I will be doing some giveaways, and I'm just really excited to hear how some of you have turned your pain into your purpose, very much like how Meriam, Sarah, and I all have in different ways. But we all have come to the same conclusion of using the pain that we've felt in our lives to help others and make the world a better place.
Yeah, I love that. I love the challenge, because all of us, we do have a story in our belly, and it takes quite some prompts to get it out. Sometimes when Sarah asked me or told me, "Oh, wait, rewind," I was like, "Okay, what do you mean, Sarah?" And at the same time, I was thinking, "Oh no, that means homework. Oh no, that means homework." But it was necessary to get the story out of my belly. And it was challenging. It was. But this is the result. My book, my baby. So I don't know if Ashley, do you want to read first, or I go first? Okay, I'm just gonna read a snippet of the book, and this part is when I received a question from the social worker, Meriam, how are you doing? What happened after that question? And Martin was recovering in the hospital from his kidney pancreas transplant surgery when I got that question. Okay, here it goes. When I got home, I sat alone in the living room, thinking about the conversation that was more of cry session. Martin and the social worker saw my vulnerability, but I felt relieved. Wow, Meriam is human too. I wanted to do something about my situation. Correction, I needed to do something. I was in the darkness, but I had to find the courage to see the light bulb at the end of the tunnel. Are you crazy, Meriam? Woman, let me tell you this. You are worthy of a wonderful life too. It's time you start thinking about you. There was no reason for me to stay in that unpleasant place. I took a deep breath, and all I could think of were those words: Get out of the darkness. You don't belong here. Can't you see the light? You will get there, but you have to take action. I went upstairs to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Miriam, what are you going to do for you? To be honest, I couldn't answer. I looked in the mirror again and said, Miriam, what are you going to do for you? What if something happens to you? Who's going to take care of Martin? Name me one good reason why you ignore the signs of your body. Just one. I could not answer.
I mean, I just posed this question. Who else can relate to, what you were just describing? I mean, caregivers or non-caregivers alike, especially women, right? We
Yeah.
tend to put ourselves on the back burner.
Yeah. And even it's now more than 18 years ago. And as I'm reading this, I'm reliving the moment. I still get goosebumps when I'm reading this myself.
I cried a lot during our sessions. I'm surprised Sarah put up with me. I was it was therapy.
Yeah.
When people ask how did it feel to write, it was a different form of therapy that I never thought to explore. I always knew I had a book in me, but I didn't know where to start.
And first of all, I don't mind crying. I actually I cry all the time. So if anyone is crying, I'm like, okay, there's crying. Like, it's an emotion. I really deeply believe we cannot repress our emotions. When we repress them and repress them and repress them, we end up with like physical manifestations of disease, and we end up with emotional manifestations of disease, and they come out anyway. So I have no problem with crying. And second of all, the writing process gets us to our truth, and therapy gets us to our truth. So of course they're similar in that sense. The difference, I think, is I never I never asked you to change your behavior, right? The way therapists are always like, now consider this in the next choice, right? I would never ask you to do something, and I would never offer advice about behavior, but I would just offer advice about a sentence, right? And offer advice about how to put one sentence next to the next one. What I love about what Meriam read is that the repetition of like, how will you take care of you, right? How will you take care of you right now? And that moment of looking in the mirror, which is a really powerful question, It's a really, really powerful question. One of the most amazing things about Miriam's book is that it's a mixture of narrative and questions, right? So if you read it and you're a caregiver, A, get the tissues, and B, sit down, because you're going to be like, oh, like every time there would be a question with Miriam, I would be like, okay, so grammatically that question is correct. Personally, I have to think about it now. So even as the editor, I was deeply moved, right? And actually, the thing about your book that is so powerful is that it constantly, constantly, constantly reminds us that no matter where we go, we bring all of ourselves with us. So if we are in Thailand, or we are in Ohio, or we are in, any of the places that you traveled to, we bring all of ourselves with us. We can't run away from who we are, right? And the other thing about your book, Ashley, that's so beautiful is, I mean, this is true of both of you. It made me think love was possible. As an editor, I would be reading your sentences and I'd be like, that's a really sweet sentence about her husband, or that's a really sweet sentence about Martin. And then inside I'd be like, but love is possible. Both reactions. It was such an honor to work with both of you on your books. Like, it was an incredible honor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I was going to mention, Miriam's book with the questions, even in the little bit that she read. I mean, she could have read her whole book for all I care. I got the time. But Meriam asks questions that, like you said, Sarah, kind of make you sit there and think. And they kind of make you feel uncomfortable because no one really wants to take a microscope into their own lives, and it's hard sometimes, but Meriam, she asks the questions that need to be asked. She's got the blueprint. I say that time and time again. The woman's got the blueprint in Caregiver 2.0 for caregivers that, are burnt out and don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. She's got the blueprint to get you through that tunnel to get to that light.
Yeah. Those questions, I had to answer them myself years ago. And that's why I decided to ask them to the reader. And some of them, yes, I can tell you might want to punch me through the pages, but that's okay. That's okay.
Right.
Those questions some of them are really tough questions, but that's exactly what I had in mind, to get you uncomfortable, to be comfortable, to get you out of that dark place.
Right. That's so important because what they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You can't do that. You can't repeatedly be burnt out and trying to help others. You have to take care of yourself at some point. I don't know how many times I've read where a caregiver says, well, the caregiver's in the hospital. And that's just testament to, what Meriam and I are trying to, showcase to the world. Like, caregivers, hello, we're here. We need care too. We're kind of invisible, but Meriam and I are trying to break that mold.
Yeah. One of the ways that sorry, Meriam, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I was going to say, one of the ways that both of you do that is that you offer hope. Like, Ashley's book made me really hopeful, even though there's so much loss, even though there's cancer. And I hate cancer. Like, I hated cancer before I read Ashley's book, and then I really hated cancer. And then recently I had a friend who was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and she's my age. Again, I was like, oh my God, I really hate cancer.
Yeah.
And so even in the hatred of this massive disease, there is incredible hope. Even in Miriam's questions, and the sorrow of Martin's foot, and Patrick's stroke, there is hope, right? So you guys offer the caregiver hope. And for that, I'm grateful as your editor and your friend.
Thank you so much. But what I wanted to say is, when I read Ashley's book, Ashley took me back to Asia, and I loved that part. I loved that Thailand part. And it was a really good self-care moment reading the book and reading her story. And Ashley, you're going to read some of your book now?
I actually am. Mine's a little bit longer, but I wanted to give the listeners kind of some kind of context behind. So I got a couple paragraphs here, and it is about cancer. And yes, Sarah, I totally agree. I hate it. I've had too much loss from cancer. But here I go. So I'll never forget March 28th, 2017, when Troy's scheduled appointment wasn't at his normal doctor's office, but at the Barrett Cancer Center. I remember walking towards the center and saying, "Oh, this can't be good." And Troy heard me and got quiet. As soon as I touched the door handle, I just had this sickening and sinking feeling in my heart. I just knew. That door felt heavy, almost too heavy for me to open, and I wanted to turn around and run away. Sometimes I wish that I would have grabbed Troy's hand and told him, "Let's run away to a remote island." But we wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be reading this story. This Barrett Cancer Center looks small on the outside, but as soon as you get through those doors, you clearly see just how big the inside is and how many floors there are. It was overwhelming for so many different reasons. Why are we meeting at a cancer center? Why are there so many people? Why does cancer hit this many families? What is next for my family that I'm trying to have? Troy and I checked in for his appointment and waited to be seen, which was excruciating. All the hurry up and wait, all the anticipation like we were about to see Beyonce and Jay-Z perform. But no, we are waiting in a hospital, waiting to see what trajectory our life's path was about to take. Those 10 to 15 minutes seemed like it took forever. Caregivers, you know what I'm talking about. I just want to be told what is happening and how to prepare my life around the news. But nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to hear. When we got called back to see the doctor, I remember firmly holding Troy's hand as a reassurance that I had his back. I'm not going anywhere. When the doctor came in, he explained that the biopsy did show that the nasal blockage was indeed cancer. Troy was diagnosed with stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of the nasal cavity, basically nasal cancer. Our initial feelings and mood were, he's too young for cancer. We work out at least 4 times a week. We try to eat healthy most of the week. The doctors told us that sometimes the human body is funny in this way. Well, we weren't laughing. I was surprised that I didn't crumble or cry from the news. As a matter of fact, I had an outer body experience. I'm not sure if you believe in those types of things, but they have happened to me a couple times in my life. Another time I vividly remember having one is when my pastor and police officer came to notify us about the passing of my dad. But as my body is sitting in the hard, cold, and metal chair, my mind and spirit seems to be floating in the air and looking down on me. I think it was calling out to my dad and God at that moment, screaming, "Help, help me. I don't know what to do."
Wow.
I remember sitting in that chair.
Breathe.
I truly remember sitting there and Troy, who doesn't show too much emotion other than laughter and happiness, he broke.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the first time I had seen him cry, and we had known each other for a very long time at that point. And I vividly remember him saying he didn't want to die because cancer is so synonymous with death, with dying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have no idea what you have written, the story that came out of your belly. How many people need this? How many people don't have the courage to put this in writing, to write a book, your feelings, what happened? And you know, the back of your book, I have written something. Maybe you want to, that's all I have to say about Ashley's book.
Yep. She wrote me a glowing review that is on the back of the book. So for all those that have pre-ordered or will be ordering on Friday, you'll get to see it. But it, caregivers, Meriam, and I know you can chime in here. Caregivers, we have such a hard time of telling our truth, showing emotion, showing feelings, because it can be seen as being weak. Asking for help can be seen as being weak, and not to anybody else but ourselves. Not to anybody else but ourselves. That's what we think. And I think both of our books showcase just the raw and realness of being a caregiver, of what you have to go through, of what you have to do, because you might be that only person's hope and chance at a quality of life.
Well said. No more words needed.
What I love about that passage, Ashley, is the incredible vulnerability and the humor. For those of you who haven't ordered Ashley's book yet, it is so funny. I mean, Miriam's is funny as well, but Ashley's is like funny because in the middle of a cancer center, she's like, oh, like waiting for Beyonce. And you're like, what? So funny. There's another beautiful passage where she's driving in a car and she's listening to amazing music, and then she's listening to incredible fun music, and just her reflection on that, about how much music has held her together with her mama and Troy and her dad who passed. And I know that I wouldn't be talking to my dad if I hadn't have met Ashley. And so I'm very grateful for that as well. So.
She didn't know that. Yep.
Right? Because I hadn't talked to him in 30 years. And then the universe brings me two amazing clients. Meriam to remind me that I am taking care of my daughters. And Ashley to remind me that it's okay to reach out to a man who hasn't been in my life. Because if he passes and I've never talked to him again, I have lost something. That's the thing about Ashley's book. What is lost is found. What is lost is found in writing.
I'm speechless.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And, you know, in my book, I have a paragraph, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. I'm not going to say much about what's in the book, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. And I'm so happy, Sarah, that after 30 years, you talked to your father again. I'm really happy you did.
That's really beautiful. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Lisa, thank you. I have been seeing you posting here. Thank you for tuning in. I think Lisa, I know she's a fellow caregiver, but I think she may be interested in sharing and writing her story with the world. So thank you for tuning in, Lisa. Appreciate that. Definitely, you know, Meriam, what you said, tomorrow is not guaranteed. It truly isn't. You know, that sounds so cliche, but it's just really the simple truth. So it's just unbelievable to see how far we've come, Meriam, my sister.
That's thanks to Sarah, thanks to Ashley. You know, I am so proud of us. And, you know, Sarah, you're a wonderful writing coach, even though I had moments just like, I'll never forget Ashley's words when we got homework. Like, Meriam, did you get that much homework? Oh, yeah.
Like, this lady won't stop giving me the homework. Oh my goodness. But
part of the homework came from you, right? Like, it was your ideas. What I love working about clients is I just listen to them and the sentences they need to get to So it's not homework just from like top down to keep you busy. It's homework from the heart to make the book grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, definitely.
you told us, ladies, you have such a great story that can help both you and others. Because I didn't see it in the beginning. I was like, who would want to read my story?
Yeah.
Who's going to be interested? And today I can say, oh my gosh, I'm still blown away by so many messages, emails. I'm blown away. But it feels so good knowing that I am already helping people.
Right.
It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. And Lost Travel Found, I remember when I started reading, I texted Ashley, I want more. I need more. And I want my signed books.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
not one book, it's two.
It might take me 8 hours to get there by plane, but I'll bring them to you. But I want to be cognizant of Sarah's time, because I'm sure she probably has some other authors that she is debuting to the world. So I just want to say thank you again, Sarah. You don't even know. I can't even put into words eloquently enough how much you've changed my life, and for the better. Meriam, the same as you. There's actually a section in my book where you can find Dr. Sarah and Meriam's services in my book. So if you are needing, caregiver, you're burnt out, she's got the blueprint, Caregiver 2.0. And if you're wanting to write a book but don't know where to start, you can look up Dr. Sarah and she will help you. And it's not, the process isn't easy, but she will help you get there.
Yes.
And finally, for me, I just want to, again, my Pain to Purpose challenge that will be going this week and through the weekend. And just make sure you are posting your own post about it, tag Timeless Dream Events, and use that hashtag My Pain to Purpose. And I can't wait to read how you've turned your pain into your purpose. You've got a story to tell. I can't wait to read it.
Absolutely. And don't forget, June 18th, Friday, Lost Travel Found launch party. Be there. Don't miss it. And just like Lost Travel Found, you can find my information and Sarah's information, and that also goes for Caregiver 2.0. You will find Ashley's and Sarah's information as well in my book. And Sarah, once again, thank you so much for being my coach and for getting the story out of my belly. And Ashley, for you listening to me when I needed you, and you're stuck on me. You can't get rid of me anymore, and that goes for you as well, Sarah. I'm so sorry to tell you. It's out there. You can't get rid of me. I love you both so much, and thank you for everything you've done for me when I needed you and still need you. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with both of you, and it has deeply moved my heart, my own reflections on what it means to be a single mama with 2 children, or a solo mama, as we say, with 2 children. And it has strengthened my editorial skills. So it's been a super fun process. I can't wait to do book number 2 with both of you.
Woo!
That's my challenge, number 2. For those of you out there who are sitting on a book or a paragraph and think, I have a story, but no one wants to hear it, I challenge you to understand that your story is your gift to the world. And it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the people who need to hear it. So don't sit on that story too long, because as Meriam said, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Ooh,
and books are possible. Thank you both so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I've dropped some information in the comments. So for those that view on the replay, you'll be able to catch up. Do please share, like, follow, all of the things. All right. Until next time. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.